the American colonies in the mid-18th century. The mid-18th century marked a time of growth and prosperity for the American colonies. 13 distinct colonies, each with its own unique character and economy, stretched along the Atlantic coast. From the bustling ports of Boston and New York to the fertile farmlands of Pennsylvania and the sprawling plantations of Virginia, the colonies thrived under British rule. Life in the colonies differed greatly from the motherland. Vast wilderness areas provided ample land for ambitious settlers, fostering a spirit of independence and self-reliance. Colonial society was diverse, with English, French, German, Dutch, and African influences shaping its cultural landscape. Agriculture formed the backbone of the colonial economy, with tobacco, rice, indigo, and wheat being major crops. Trade flourished, connecting the colonies to the Caribbean, Europe, and Africa. Despite their differences, the colonies shared a common bond: their allegiance to the British Crown and their adherence to English law and traditions. The colonies were governed by a system of royal governors appointed by the king and elected assemblies representing the colonists' interests. This system allowed for a degree of self-governance while still maintaining British control. The colonies enjoyed relative peace and prosperity, contributing to a sense of optimism and opportunity. The American dream, a belief in upward mobility and the pursuit of happiness, began to take root. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly idyllic existence, tensions were brewing. The vast distance separating the colonies from Great Britain fostered a sense of autonomy, while the growing colonial economy led to increasing demands for greater control over their own affairs. The seeds of discontent were sown, waiting for the right moment to sprout into open rebellion. Growing tensions with Great Britain. The French and Indian War from 1754 to 1763, a conflict that pitted Great Britain and its American colonies against France and its Native American allies, proved to be a turning point in Anglo-American relations. While the British emerged victorious, securing their dominance in North America, the war's cost had a profound impact on colonial policy. The British treasury, drained by years of fighting, sought to recoup its losses by imposing new taxes on the colonies. The Stamp Act of 1765, requiring colonists to purchase stamps for legal documents, newspapers, and other printed materials, ignited a firestorm of protest. Colonists, accustomed to a degree of self-governance, resented what they perceived as taxation without representation. No taxation without representation became a rallying cry, uniting colonists from different backgrounds and social classes in opposition to British policies. The Townshend Acts of 1767, levying taxes on imported goods like tea, glass, and paper, further inflamed colonial anger. The Boston Massacre of 1770, in which British soldiers fired upon a crowd of unarmed colonists, killing 5, shocked the colonies and intensified anti-British sentiment. Although tensions eased somewhat following the repeal of most of the Townshend Acts, the underlying issues remained unresolved. The British government, determined to assert its authority, responded to colonial defiance with increasingly heavy-handed tactics. The Coercive Acts of 1774, also known as the Intolerable Acts, were designed to punish Massachusetts for the Boston Tea Party, an act of defiance in which colonists dumped British tea into Boston Harbor. These acts, which included the closure of Boston Harbor and the imposition of military rule in Massachusetts, further alienated the colonies. The Revolutionary Presidents. Amidst this backdrop of growing unrest and escalating tensions, a new generation of American leaders emerged. These men, who would later become known as the Founding Fathers, came from diverse backgrounds. Some, like George Washington, were wealthy landowners and military officers, while others, like John Adams, were lawyers and intellectuals. Despite their differences, they shared a common belief in the rights of colonists and a growing conviction that separation from Great Britain was inevitable. George Washington, a Virginian planter and veteran of the French and Indian War, commanded respect for his military experience and unwavering character. John Adams, a fiery orator and staunch defender of colonial liberties, emerged as a leading voice in the Continental Congress. Thomas Jefferson, a brilliant writer and political philosopher, penned the Declaration of Independence, a document that articulated the colony's grievances and declared their right to self-governance. James Madison, a scholar and advocate for a strong national government, played a crucial role in drafting the United States Constitution. James Monroe, a veteran of the Revolutionary War and diplomat, would later articulate the Monroe Doctrine, a cornerstone of American foreign policy. These men, along with other founding fathers like Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, and John Hancock, would shape the destiny of a nation. Driven by a potent blend of idealism, pragmatism, and unwavering determination, they would lead the American colonies through a tumultuous period of revolution, constitution-making, and nation-building. Their actions and decisions laid the foundation for a new form of government, one based on the principles of liberty, equality, and self-governance. Their legacy continues to inspire and shape the United States today, a testament to the enduring power of their vision. Born into a prominent Virginia planter family in 1732, his upbringing instilled in him the values of hard work, discipline, and public service. Growing up at Ferry Farm, his family's estate on the Rappahannock River, young George developed a love for the land and a strong sense of responsibility. While his formal education was limited, he received tutoring in various subjects, including mathematics, surveying, and literature. At the age of 16, Washington embarked on a career as a surveyor, a profession that honed his skills in observation mapmaking and land management. His work took him deep into the Virginia wilderness, exposing him to the challenges and opportunities of frontier life. These experiences instilled in him a deep appreciation for the vastness and potential of the American continent. The death of his elder half-brother Lawrence in 1752 proved to be a turning point in Washington's life. He inherited Mount Vernon, Lawrence's beloved plantation overlooking the Potomac River. Managing Mount Vernon became a lifelong passion for Washington, and he took great pride in developing it into a thriving agricultural enterprise. As a young man of growing stature in Virginia society, Washington sought to emulate the gentlemanly ideals of the day. He cultivated a dignified demeanor, honed his social skills, and developed a keen interest in military affairs. At the age of 20, he was appointed a major in the Virginia militia, marking the beginning of his illustrious military career. From surveyor to Commander Washington's military rise. His early military experience came during the French and Indian War, a conflict that would shape his leadership skills and forge his reputation as a courageous and resourceful commander. In 1754, Washington was dispatched to the Ohio Valley, then a contested territory claimed by both Britain and France, to assert British claims. His mission ended in a clash with French forces at Fort Necessity, where he was forced to surrender. Despite this early setback, his bravery and determination did not go unnoticed. He served as an aide-de-camp to British General Edward Braddock during the disastrous Braddock Expedition of 1755, witnessing firsthand the dangers of wilderness warfare and the shortcomings of British military tactics. His courage under fire and ability to maintain order during the retreat earned him widespread admiration. Returning to Virginia, Washington was appointed commander of the Virginia Regiment, tasked with defending the colony's western frontier from Native American raids. He led his men through grueling campaigns, enduring harsh conditions and frequent skirmishes. My leadership during this period, marked by both successes and setbacks, further solidified my reputation as a capable and resilient military leader. The French and Indian War, though ultimately a British victory, had a profound impact on Washington. He emerged from the conflict with a deep understanding of military strategy and tactics, a seasoned commander with first-hand experience of the horrors of war, and a growing awareness of the tensions simmering between Great Britain and its American colonies. Washington in the War for Independence. As tensions with Great Britain escalated in the 1770s, he joined the growing chorus of colonial voices calling for greater autonomy from British rule. He served as a delegate to the First and Second Continental Congresses, where he lent his military expertise to the burgeoning rebellion. When the conflict erupted into open warfare in 1775, his reputation as a skilled and respected leader made him the natural choice to lead the Continental Army. Assuming command of a ragtag force of colonial militiamen, Washington faced the daunting task of forging them into a disciplined fighting force capable of taking on the might of the British Army. He faced numerous challenges: shortages of supplies and equipment, inexperienced troops, and a powerful enemy with superior resources. Yet he persevered, demonstrating remarkable leadership, strategic acumen, and unwavering resolve. Throughout the long and arduous war, Washington's leadership proved instrumental in securing American independence. He orchestrated the siege of Boston, forcing the British to evacuate the city in 1776. I masterminded the daring crossing of the Delaware River on Christmas night of 1776, leading to victories at Trenton and Princeton that boosted American morale. And he endured the brutal winter encampment at Valley Forge, where his troops suffered from disease, hunger, and inadequate clothing, yet emerged stronger and more determined. His military genius was perhaps most evident in his ability to adapt to changing circumstances and exploit his enemy's weaknesses. He recognized the importance of securing foreign alliances, and his diplomacy helped bring France into the war as an American ally. He understood the need to maintain the support of the civilian population, and his eloquent appeals for unity and perseverance rallied the American people to the cause of independence. A reluctant president shaping a new nation. He had no desire for political power and envisioned spending his remaining days as a gentleman farmer. Following the British surrender at Yorktown in 1781, weary from years of war and yearning for retirement, he returned to Mount Vernon. However, fate had other plans for the victorious general. In 1787, he reluctantly agreed to preside over the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, where delegates from the newly independent states gathered to craft a new framework for government. Washington's presence at the convention lent it an air of legitimacy and helped to foster compromise among the delegates. His support for a strong national government, tempered by a commitment to individual liberties, helped to shape the final document. He played a largely silent role during the debates, but his influence was undeniable. When the Constitution was completed, it was Washington who, as president of the convention, signed it first, signifying his unwavering belief in its merits. The newly ratified Constitution called for a president to lead the executive branch of government. Once again, all eyes turned on him. In 1789, he was unanimously elected as the first president of the United States, a testament to the nation's trust in his leadership and integrity. Although hesitant to assume the mantle of leadership once more, he recognized the weight of responsibility bestowed upon him and approached the presidency with his characteristic sense of duty and dedication. As the nation's first president, Washington faced the daunting task of setting precedents for the office and establishing a functioning government. He assembled a cabinet of trusted advisors, including Thomas Jefferson as Secretary of State and Alexander Hamilton as Secretary of the Treasury. He established the federal judiciary, appointing John Jay as the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And he navigated complex foreign policy challenges, maintaining American neutrality during the French Revolutionary Wars. Section 5, Enduring Legacy. Washington as a symbol of American identity. After serving 2 terms as president, he, true to his word, declined to seek a 3rd term, establishing a precedent for a peaceful transfer of power that would endure for generations. In his farewell address, a document that would become a cornerstone of American political thought, he warned against the dangers of partisan politics, sectionalism, and foreign entanglements. He urged his fellow citizens to embrace unity, cherish liberty, and uphold the principles enshrined in the Constitution. Washington's death in 1799 at the age of 67 plunged the nation into mourning. He was hailed as the father of his country, a fitting tribute to the man who had led the fight for independence, presided over the birth of a new nation, and set the standard for presidential leadership. His legacy, however, extended far beyond his military and political achievements. His life embodied the ideals of the American experiment: courage, integrity, selflessness, and a deep commitment to public service. He became a symbol of national unity, his image adorning currency, monuments, and countless public spaces. His home at Mount Vernon became a national shrine, a place where generations of Americans would come to pay homage to the man who personified the spirit of a nation. Despite his many accomplishments, Washington was not without his flaws. He was a man of his time, and his views on slavery, while complex and evolving, reflected the prevailing attitudes of the era. Nevertheless, his contributions to the founding and shaping of the United States remain unparalleled. His legacy continues to inspire and guide the nation he helped to create, a testament to the enduring power of his character and the enduring relevance of his vision. Adams's early life and ideals. John Adams, born in 1735 in Braintree, Massachusetts, embodied the spirit of New England intellectualism and moral conviction. Born into a modest farming family, Adams's father, also named John, instilled in him a deep respect for education and civic duty. He excelled in his studies, graduating from Harvard College in 1755 and embarking on a career in law. As a young lawyer, Adams quickly gained a reputation for his sharp intellect, eloquence, and unwavering commitment to justice. He defended British soldiers involved in the Boston Massacre, a controversial act that demonstrated his belief in the rule of law even when it clashed with popular sentiment. Adams's commitment to principle over expediency would become a hallmark of his long and distinguished career. His legal practice brought him into contact with the leading intellectuals and political figures of his day. He engaged in lively debates about the rights of colonists and the growing tensions with Great Britain. Influenced by Enlightenment thinkers such as John Locke, he became a vocal advocate for colonial liberties and self-governance. In 1765, Adams penned a series of essays published anonymously that challenged the legality of the Stamp Act, a British tax that had sparked widespread protests in the colonies. His writings, known as the Braintree Instructions, articulated the colonists' grievances and helped to galvanize opposition to British policies. Adams's reputation as a principled defender of colonial rights was solidified, propelling him onto the national stage. Adams and the Revolutionary Cause. As tensions with Great Britain escalated in the 1770s, he emerged as a leading voice in the movement for independence. He served as a delegate to the First Continental Congress in 1774, where he eloquently articulated the colonists' grievances and advocated for a firm stance against British policies. His passionate speeches and unwavering commitment to liberty inspired his fellow delegates and helped to shape the course of the American Revolution. When the Second Continental Congress convened in 1775, following the outbreak of hostilities at Lexington and Concord, Adams played a pivotal role in shaping the nascent government and advocating for a formal Declaration of Independence. He nominated George Washington to serve as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army, recognizing Washington's military experience and leadership qualities. Adams also served on the committee tasked with drafting the Declaration of Independence, working alongside Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Robert Livingston, and Roger Sherman. While Jefferson is credited with authoring the Declaration's eloquent prose, he played a crucial role in refining its language and advocating for its adoption. He delivered impassioned speeches before the Congress, urging his fellow delegates to embrace the momentous decision to sever ties with Great Britain. His unwavering belief in the righteousness of the American cause and his forceful advocacy helped to sway the delegates, securing the Declaration's passage on July 4, 1776. Throughout the Revolutionary War, Adams continued to serve the cause of American independence. He served on numerous committees, drafted important documents, and helped to secure vital foreign alliances. His tireless efforts and unwavering commitment to liberty earned him the title Atlas of Independence, a testament to his pivotal role in securing America's freedom. With the successful conclusion of the Revolutionary War, John Adams embarked on a new chapter in his distinguished career, this time on the world stage. In 1778, he was appointed as the first American minister to France, tasked with securing French support for the fledgling nation. Adams, accompanied by his young son John Quincy Adams, navigated the complexities of European diplomacy, seeking to secure loans, treaties, and recognition for the newly independent United States. Adams's tenure in France proved to be challenging. The French court, while sympathetic to the American cause, was primarily interested in furthering its own interests. Adams, ever the staunch defender of American sovereignty, clashed with French officials over terms of treaties and financial aid. Despite these difficulties, Adams managed to secure crucial loans and supplies that helped to sustain the American war effort. Following the signing of the Treaty of Paris in 1783, which formally ended the Revolutionary War, Adams was appointed as the first American minister to Great Britain. This posting once again presented significant challenges. The British government, still smarting from its defeat, viewed the United States with suspicion and disdain. However, Adams approached his duties with characteristic dignity and determination. As minister to Great Britain, Adams worked tirelessly to establish diplomatic relations, negotiate trade agreements, and resolve outstanding issues stemming from the war. While his tenure was marked by its share of frustrations, Adams laid the groundwork for future Anglo-American relations and helped to secure America's place in the international community. In 1789, John Adams assumed the office of the first Vice President of the United States, serving under President George Washington. While the Constitution assigned the Vice President a largely ceremonial role, Adams took his duties seriously, presiding over the Senate and offering his counsel to Washington on matters of state. However, the limitations of the office frustrated him. "I yearned for a more active role in shaping the nation's destiny." In 1796, with Washington retiring after 2 terms, Adams emerged as a leading contender for the presidency. He faced a contentious election against his former friend and political rival, Thomas Jefferson. Adams narrowly defeated Jefferson, securing the presidency by a margin of just 3 electoral votes. Jefferson, in accordance with the electoral system of the time, became vice president. His presidency from 1797 to 1801 proved to be a tumultuous period marked by partisan strife, international intrigue, and bitter political battles. The young nation, still finding its footing, faced challenges both at home and abroad. The French Revolution, which had initially inspired hope for a new era of liberty, had descended into chaos and bloodshed, sparking war between France and Great Britain. The United States, caught in the middle of this European conflict, faced pressure to choose sides. Committed to maintaining American neutrality, he resisted calls from both Federalists, who favored supporting Great Britain, and Democratic Republicans, who sympathized with France. His efforts to steer a middle course angered both sides, fueling partisan divisions and undermining his presidency. Adding to Adams's woes, the XYZ affair, a diplomatic incident in which French agents demanded bribes from American diplomats, outraged the American public and pushed the 2 nations to the brink of war. Adams resisted calls for a declaration of war, believing that armed conflict would be disastrous for our young nation. His decision to pursue a peaceful resolution, though unpopular at the time, ultimately proved to be the wisest course of action. John Adams's presidency, though marked by controversy and partisan strife, demonstrated his unwavering commitment to principle, his steadfast leadership during a time of crisis, and his enduring belief in the promise of American democracy. He left office in 1801, defeated by Thomas Jefferson in a rematch of their 1796 contest. Defeated and embittered by the political attacks he had endured, Adams retired to his farm in Quincy, Massachusetts. Despite his bitterness, Adams never lost his passion for politics or his belief in the importance of civic engagement. He continued to correspond with leading figures of the day, offering his thoughts on current events and the future of the nation. In time, his anger towards Jefferson softened, and they rekindled their friendship, exchanging letters that reflected on their lives, their legacies, and the enduring principles of the American Revolution. John Adams died on July 4, 1826, the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, a fitting end for a man who had dedicated his life to the cause of American liberty. His last words, "Thomas Jefferson survives," proved to be inaccurate, as Jefferson had died just hours earlier. The simultaneous deaths of these two founding fathers, once friends, then rivals, and finally reconciled elder statesmen, seemed to symbolize the enduring legacy of the American Revolution and the complex, often contradictory nature of the nation's founding. John Adams is remembered as a man of principle, a brilliant legal mind, a skilled diplomat, and a courageous leader who guided the nation through its early years. His presidency, though often overshadowed by the more charismatic figures of Washington and Jefferson, stands as a testament to his unwavering commitment to public service and his enduring belief in the power of ideas to shape the course of history. Thomas Jefferson was born on April 13, 1743 in Shadwell, Virginia, the third of 10 children in a prosperous family. His father, Peter Jefferson, was a successful planter and surveyor, while his mother, Jane Randolph Jefferson, belonged to one of Virginia's most distinguished families. This background afforded young Thomas a privileged upbringing and access to an excellent education. Jefferson began his formal education at the age of 9, studying Latin, Greek, and French. At the age of 16, he enrolled in the College of William and Mary, where he immersed himself in classical literature, science, and law. His intellectual curiosity and love for learning were evident from an early age, setting the stage for his future as a polymath and influential thinker. After completing his studies, Jefferson read law under the tutelage of George Wythe, a prominent legal scholar and future signer of the Declaration of Independence. He was admitted to the Virginia bar in 1767 and quickly established a successful legal practice. However, it was his passion for architecture, science, and philosophy that truly set him apart. In 1768, Jefferson began designing and constructing Monticello, his beloved estate near Charlottesville, Virginia. Monticello became a lifelong project, reflecting his architectural prowess and his vision for an ideal Republican life. The estate symbolized his commitment to agrarian values, self-sufficiency, and intellectual achievement, principles that would guide his political philosophy throughout his life. As tensions between the American colonies and Great Britain escalated, he emerged as a vocal advocate for colonial rights. In 1769, he was elected to the Virginia House of Burgesses, where he began to articulate his views on independence and self-governance. His pamphlet, A Summary View of the Rights of British America in 1774, argued for the colony's natural rights and criticized British policies, gaining him recognition as a leading revolutionary thinker. Jefferson's most significant contribution to the revolutionary cause came in 1776, when he was appointed to the Committee of Five tasked with drafting the Declaration of Independence. Chosen for my eloquence and writing skills, I took on the primary responsibility of composing the document. In just 17 days, he crafted a powerful statement of the colony's grievances and their right to self-determination. The Declaration, adopted on July 4, 1776, remains one of the most eloquent expressions of human rights and freedom. All men are created equal and endowed with unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Jefferson's words became the philosophical foundation of the new nation. His words inspired not only the American Revolution, but also countless movements for freedom and justice worldwide. During the Revolutionary War, Jefferson served as governor of Virginia from 1779 to 1781. His tenure was marked by challenges, including British invasions and internal strife. Despite these difficulties, he continued to support the war effort, mobilizing resources and advocating for the principles of liberty and self-governance. His leadership during this tumultuous period solidified his reputation as a steadfast champion of American independence. After the Revolutionary War, Jefferson's talents were called upon to help shape the new nation's foreign policy. In 1784, he was appointed as a diplomat to France, where he joined Benjamin Franklin and John Adams in negotiating treaties and securing vital support for the fledgling United States. His time in France broadened his perspectives and deepened his appreciation for Enlightenment ideals. As the United States minister to France, he witnessed the early stages of the French Revolution. He sympathized with the revolutionaries' quest for liberty and equality, though he later became wary of the movement's excesses. His diplomatic efforts helped strengthen Franco-American relations and secure critical economic and military support for the young republic. In 1790, President George Washington appointed Jefferson as the first Secretary of State. In this role, he was responsible for managing the nation's foreign affairs and navigating the complex geopolitical landscape of the time. His tenure was marked by significant achievements, including the negotiation of trade agreements and the establishment of diplomatic relations with European powers. However, Jefferson's tenure as Secretary of State also highlighted his ideological differences with Alexander Hamilton, the Secretary of the Treasury. He advocated for a limited federal government, states' rights, and an agrarian economy, while Hamilton favored a strong central government and an industrialized economy. These ideological clashes laid the groundwork for the formation of the first political parties in the United States, Jefferson's Democratic Republicans and Hamilton's Federalists. Thomas Jefferson's presidency, which began in 1801 after a contentious election, was marked by significant achievements and formidable challenges. His election, often referred to as the Revolution of 1800, represented a peaceful transfer of power from the Federalists to the Democratic Republicans and solidified the principles of republicanism and democratic governance. One of Jefferson's most notable accomplishments as president was the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. This acquisition doubled the size of the United States, providing vast new territories for exploration and settlement. Jefferson's decision to purchase the territory from France for $15 million was a strategic masterstroke, securing American control over the Mississippi River and expanding the nation's economic potential. To explore this new expanse, he commissioned the Lewis and Clark expedition, which provided valuable information about the geography, flora, and fauna of the Western Territories. Jefferson's presidency also saw the successful conclusion of the First Barbary War from 1801 to 1805. Refusing to pay tribute to Barbary pirates who threatened American shipping, Jefferson sent the U.S. Navy to the Mediterranean, establishing American naval power and securing safe passage for American vessels. The victory reinforced Jefferson's commitment to protecting American interests abroad. However, Jefferson's presidency was not without its challenges. The Embargo Act of 1807, intended to avoid war by banning trade with warring European nations, proved economically disastrous and deeply unpopular. The embargo hurt American merchants and farmers, leading to widespread dissatisfaction and contributing to the economic downturn. Jefferson's policy, though well-intentioned, highlighted the difficulties of balancing foreign policy objectives with domestic economic stability. Despite these challenges, Jefferson's presidency left a lasting impact on the nation. He championed the principles of limited government, individual liberties, and states' rights, shaping the ideological foundation of American democracy. His vision of an agrarian republic, while not fully realized, influenced American political thought for generations to come. Thomas Jefferson's legacy is a complex and multifaceted one. He is celebrated as the primary author of the Declaration of Independence, a champion of individual liberties, and a visionary leader who expanded the nation's territory and influence. His contributions to American political thought, particularly his advocacy for limited government and states' rights, continue to resonate in contemporary political discourse. Jefferson's influence extended beyond politics. He founded the University of Virginia, an institution that embodied his commitment to education and intellectual pursuit. His architectural designs, including Monticello and the Virginia State Capitol, showcased his talents and enduring influence on American aesthetics. However, Jefferson's legacy is also marked by significant controversies. Despite his eloquent declarations of equality and liberty, he was a slave owner who did not free his slaves during his lifetime. The contradiction between his ideals and his practices has sparked ongoing debates about his character and the moral complexities of the Founding Fathers. Additionally, his likely relationship with Sally Hemings, one of his slaves, and the children they had together, further complicates his legacy. Jefferson's expansion of federal power through actions like the Louisiana Purchase also stands in contrast to his earlier advocacy for a limited government. These contradictions highlight the challenges and compromises inherent in governance and the evolving nature of political principles. In conclusion, Thomas Jefferson's impact on American history is profound and enduring. He helped to define the nation's core values, expand its territory, and shape its institutions. His legacy, like that of his fellow revolutionary presidents, is a testament to the complexity of the American experiment and the enduring quest to balance ideals with practical governance. Jefferson's contributions and contradictions continue to inspire and challenge scholars, leaders, and citizens as they navigate the ongoing journey of American democracy. James Madison, born in 1751 at Belle Grove Plantation in Port Conway, Virginia, entered a world on the cusp of extraordinary change. Growing up amidst the rolling hills and fertile fields of the Tidewater region, young James displayed a keen intellect and a thirst for knowledge that set him apart from his peers. While his family's wealth afforded him opportunities unavailable to many, it was Madison's own dedication to scholarship that laid the foundation for his future greatness. At the age of 18, Madison journeyed north to the College of New Jersey, now Princeton University, where he immersed himself in the classics, history, philosophy, and political theory. The intellectual ferment of the era, fueled by Enlightenment ideals and the writings of John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Montesquieu, deeply influenced Madison's thinking. He emerged from Princeton with a profound understanding of political theory and a firm belief in the power of reason and reasoned debate to shape a just and equitable society. Returning to Virginia after completing his studies, Madison found himself increasingly drawn to the political currents swirling through the colonies. The debate over colonial rights and the escalating tensions with Great Britain ignited his passions. He joined the Committee of Safety in Orange County, Virginia, and in 1776, at the young age of 25, he was elected to the Virginia Convention, where he played a key role in drafting the Virginia Declaration of Rights. Madison's early political experiences, coupled with his deep understanding of political theory, convinced him of the need for a strong yet limited government, one capable of protecting individual liberties while also ensuring the common good. This belief would guide his actions throughout his long and illustrious career, culminating in his pivotal role in shaping the United States Constitution. The inadequacies of the Articles of Confederation, the first attempt at a national government for the newly independent United States, became increasingly apparent in the years following the Revolutionary War. Lacking the power to tax, regulate commerce, or enforce its laws effectively, the Confederation government floundered, unable to address the economic and political challenges facing the young nation. Recognizing the urgent need for a more effective government, delegates from the states convened in Philadelphia in the summer of 1787 for what became known as the Constitutional Convention. James Madison, arriving in Philadelphia with a carefully considered plan for a new government, quickly emerged as a leading figure in the debates. His meticulous notes from the convention, capturing the nuances of the debates and the compromises forged, provide invaluable insights into the creation of the U.S. Constitution. Madison's plan, known as the Virginia Plan, proposed a bicameral legislature with representation based on population, a strong executive branch, and a national judiciary. While his plan underwent significant revisions and compromises during the convention, it formed the basic framework for the new government. Madison's belief in the separation of powers, with checks and balances between the different branches of government, helped to shape a system designed to prevent tyranny and protect individual liberties. Throughout the long and often contentious debates, Madison argued passionately for his vision of a strong national government capable of providing stability and unity. He recognized the dangers of factionalism and sought to create a system that would balance the interests of the states with the need for a cohesive national identity. His contributions to the Constitution earned him the well-deserved title Father of the Constitution. With the Constitution ratified and the new government in place, James Madison turned his attention to implementing the principles he had so eloquently championed. Elected to the first U.S. House of Representatives, Madison played a pivotal role in shaping the new government's early policies. He drafted the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, known as the Bill of Rights, ensuring the protection of fundamental individual liberties. Madison's commitment to limited government and his belief in the importance of states' rights led him to oppose several key initiatives of Alexander Hamilton, then Secretary of the Treasury. Hamilton's vision of a strong central government with broad powers to promote economic development clashed with Madison's more Jeffersonian view of a decentralized government with limited powers. These ideological differences led to the formation of the first political parties in the United States, the Federalists, led by Hamilton, and the Democratic Republicans, with Madison and Thomas Jefferson as leading figures. Despite their political differences, Madison and Hamilton collaborated on the Federalist Papers, a series of essays written to defend the Constitution and persuade the states to ratify it. Throughout the 1790s, Madison continued to champion the principles of limited government and individual liberties, often finding himself at odds with the Federalist-controlled government. He opposed the Alien and Sedition Acts, which he viewed as an infringement on freedom of speech and the press, and he drafted the Virginia Resolutions, arguing that states had the right to nullify federal laws they deemed unconstitutional. Following Thomas Jefferson's presidency, James Madison, his close friend and political ally, assumed the presidency in 1809. He inherited a nation grappling with growing tensions with Great Britain and France, both of which had been interfering with American shipping and impressing American sailors into their navies. Despite his deep-seated aversion to war, Madison found himself increasingly pressured by events to take a more assertive stance against British aggression. In 1812, after years of failed diplomacy and continued British provocations, Madison reluctantly asked Congress for a declaration of war. The War of 1812, though divisive and costly, proved to be a defining moment in Madison's presidency and in the young nation's history. The war, fought on land and sea, tested the limits of American strength and resolve. The British, with their superior navy, blockaded American ports, raided coastal towns, and even captured and burned Washington, D.C. However, the United States, bolstered by key victories at sea and on the Canadian border, demonstrated its resilience and determination to defend its sovereignty. Throughout the war, Madison faced criticism from both Federalists, who opposed the war from the outset, and members of his own party who questioned his leadership. Yet he persevered, guiding the nation through a tumultuous period and ultimately securing a peace treaty that restored the pre-war boundaries and affirmed American independence. The War of 1812, though a stalemate in military terms, marked a turning point in American history, solidifying national unity and ushering in an era of westward expansion and economic growth. Madison's enduring contributions. After serving 2 terms as president, Madison retired to Montpelier, his plantation in Virginia, in 1817. He returned to his scholarly pursuits, writing extensively on political theory, constitutional law, and the history of the early republic. He also played an active role in Virginia politics, serving in the state legislature and participating in the Constitutional Convention of 1829 to 1830.
Madison's later years were marked by growing concern about the issue of slavery, which he believed posed a grave threat to the nation's unity and future. He opposed the expansion of slavery into new territories and advocated for gradual emancipation, though his efforts to find a political solution to this divisive issue proved unsuccessful.
James Madison died at Montpelier on June 28, 1836, at the age of 85. He left behind a legacy as one of the most influential figures in American history. James Madison's contributions to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the early Republic helped to shape the nation's political institutions and ideals. His writings continue to be studied and debated by scholars and citizens alike, offering timeless insights into the challenges and opportunities of democratic governance. His life and career demonstrate the power of ideas to shape history. Madison's unwavering belief in the principles of limited government, individual liberties, and the rule of law helped to forge a nation founded on the promise of freedom and equality. His legacy serves as a reminder that the American experiment, though imperfect and ever-evolving, continues to draw strength and inspiration from the vision of its founding fathers. Monroe's path to leadership. He was born in 1758 in Westmoreland County, Virginia, entering a world on the brink of revolution. Growing up amidst the rolling hills and plantation culture of colonial Virginia, he witnessed firsthand the growing tensions between Great Britain and its American colonies. His family, though not as wealthy as some of his contemporaries, instilled in him a strong sense of duty, honor, and a belief in the principles of liberty and self-governance. At the age of 16, he enrolled at the College of William and Mary, a breeding ground for future revolutionary leaders. He immersed himself in his studies, excelling in classics, history, and law. However, the outbreak of the Revolutionary War in 1775 interrupted his academic pursuits and set him on a new path. Answering the call to arms, he left William and Mary to join the Continental Army. He served with distinction, fighting in numerous battles, including the pivotal Battle of Trenton, where he was seriously wounded while leading a charge against Hessian forces. His courage and leadership under fire earned him the respect of his fellow soldiers and the admiration of his commanding officers, including George Washington. Despite his youth, he quickly rose through the ranks, serving as an aide-de-camp to General William Alexander and later as a lieutenant colonel in the Virginia line. His wartime experiences instilled in him a deep appreciation for the sacrifices made in the name of liberty and a profound understanding of the challenges facing the newly independent nation. Navigating a world in flux. Following the Revolutionary War, he embarked on a political career that would see him serve in a variety of roles, both at home and abroad. He served in the Virginia House of Delegates, the Confederation Congress, and as a U.S. Senator. However, it was in the realm of diplomacy that Monroe would make his most significant early contributions to the young nation. In 1794, President Washington appointed him as minister to France. Tasked with maintaining good relations with the revolutionary French government, he found himself navigating the treacherous waters of European diplomacy at a time of great upheaval. He faced challenges ranging from the fallout of the French Revolution to the ongoing war between France and Great Britain. His tenure in France proved to be controversial. He openly sympathized with the French Republic and opposed the Jay Treaty, a controversial agreement negotiated by John Jay that sought to normalize relations with Great Britain. His stance angered the Washington administration, leading to my recall in 1796. Undeterred, Monroe returned to the United States and continued his political career, serving as governor of Virginia from 1799 to 1802. However, his diplomatic skills were once again called upon when President Jefferson appointed him as special envoy to France in 1803 to negotiate the purchase of New Orleans. Monroe's mission to France proved to be far more successful than his previous diplomatic assignment. He returned to the United States, having secured not only New Orleans, but the entire Louisiana Territory, a vast expanse of land that doubled the size of the young nation. The Louisiana Purchase, hailed as one of the greatest diplomatic triumphs in American history, solidified Monroe's reputation as a skilled negotiator and visionary leader. The accidental president. Following his diplomatic successes, James Monroe's political star continued to rise. He served as Secretary of State under President James Madison from 1811 to 1817, a period that encompassed the War of 1812. As Secretary of State, he played a key role in guiding American foreign policy during a time of great international tension. In 1816, with President Madison retiring after 2 terms, Monroe emerged as the Democratic-Republican Party's nominee for president. He easily won the election, defeating the Federalist candidate Rufus King by a comfortable margin. Monroe's victory ushered in an era of one-party rule, as the Federalist Party, weakened by its opposition to the War of 1812, faded into oblivion. His presidency, which lasted from 1817 to 1825, is often remembered as the era of good feelings. This period was marked by relative political harmony, economic prosperity, and westward expansion. The absence of a strong two-party system allowed Monroe to pursue his agenda with minimal partisan opposition. His presidency was not without its challenges, however. He faced sectional tensions over the issue of slavery, economic instability following the Panic of 1819, and ongoing conflicts with Native American tribes on the western frontier. Nevertheless, Monroe navigated these challenges with pragmatism and a commitment to national unity. An era of good feelings. James Monroe's presidency witnessed a period of significant domestic growth and transformation. The nation, buoyed by the end of the War of 1812 and a surge in westward expansion, experienced a period of relative peace and prosperity. His administration focused on strengthening national unity, promoting economic development, and expanding American influence abroad. One of the most significant domestic challenges facing Monroe was the issue of slavery. The admission of Missouri as a state in 1820 sparked a heated debate over the expansion of slavery into new territories. As a slaveholder himself, he recognized the divisive nature of the issue and sought a compromise that would preserve national unity. The Missouri Compromise, brokered by Henry Clay in 1820, admitted Missouri as a slave state and Maine as a free state, maintaining the balance of power in the Senate. The compromise also prohibited slavery north of the 3630 parallel, effectively limiting the expansion of slavery into the Louisiana Purchase territories. While the Missouri Compromise temporarily averted a crisis, it highlighted the growing sectional tensions that would ultimately lead to the Civil War. His administration also oversaw significant infrastructure improvements, including the construction of the National Road, which stretched from Cumberland, Maryland to Vandalia, Illinois. This road, along with other internal improvements, facilitated westward migration and economic development. He did, however, veto a bill that would have provided federal funding for internal improvements, arguing that the Constitution did not grant the federal government such authority. Despite his reservations about federal involvement in internal improvements, Monroe recognized the importance of westward expansion. His administration negotiated treaties with Spain and Great Britain, securing Florida and establishing the 49th parallel as the northern boundary of the Louisiana Purchase. These territorial acquisitions expanded American influence and opened up vast new lands for settlement. The Monroe Doctrine. His presidency is perhaps best known for the articulation of the Monroe Doctrine, a cornerstone of American foreign policy that would shape the nation's relationship with the world for generations to come. Announced in his 7th annual message to Congress in 1823, the doctrine declared that the Americas were closed to further colonization by European powers. The Monroe Doctrine emerged from a convergence of factors, including the rise of new republics in Latin America, the decline of Spanish power in the Western Hemisphere, and concerns about European intervention in the region. Monroe, with the backing of his Secretary of State, John Quincy Adams, saw an opportunity to assert American leadership in the Western Hemisphere and protect the interests of the young nation. The Monroe Doctrine consisted of 3 key principles. First, non-colonization. The Americas were closed to further colonization by European powers. Second, non-intervention. The United States would not interfere in the internal affairs of European powers or their existing colonies in the Western Hemisphere. And third, separate spheres of influence. The United States and Europe would remain separate and distinct spheres of influence. The Monroe Doctrine was a bold statement for a young nation still finding its place in the world. It signaled a departure from the isolationist policies of the early republic and asserted American hegemony in the Western Hemisphere. While the doctrine was initially met with skepticism by European powers, it gradually gained acceptance and became a cornerstone of American foreign policy. The Monroe Doctrine has been invoked by American presidents throughout history to justify a wide range of foreign policy actions, from opposing European intervention in Latin America to intervening in the affairs of Caribbean nations. Its legacy remains a subject of debate, with some arguing that it promoted stability and security in the Western Hemisphere, while others contend that it served as a pretext for American imperialism. Regardless of one's interpretation, there is no doubt that the Monroe Doctrine was a pivotal moment in American history. It marked the emergence of the United States as a major player on the world stage and established principles that would guide American foreign policy for generations to come. James Monroe, the last of the founding fathers to serve as president, left an indelible mark on the nation and its place in the world. The enduring impact of the revolutionary presidents. The five men whose stories we've explored, Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, and Monroe, were more than just presidents. They were the architects of a new nation, the founding fathers who transformed a revolutionary ideal into a functioning republic. Their combined legacies are etched into the very fabric of American identity, their influence echoing through the halls of government and the hearts of its citizens. These men, forged in the crucible of revolution, faced extraordinary challenges. They had to establish a new form of government, balance individual liberties with the need for order, navigate a treacherous international landscape, and grapple with the divisive issue of slavery. Their successes and failures, their triumphs and shortcomings offer invaluable lessons for understanding the complexities of leadership, the fragility of democracy, and the enduring power of ideas. From Washington's steady hand guiding the nation through its infancy to Monroe's bold assertion of American hegemony in the Western Hemisphere, these presidents laid the groundwork for a nation that would become a global superpower. They established precedents for presidential leadership, shaped the institutions of government, and articulated a vision of American exceptionalism that continues to resonate today. Balancing achievements and shortcomings. The legacy of the revolutionary presidents is not without its complexities and contradictions. These men, while revered for their contributions to American democracy, were also products of their time, their views shaped by the prevailing social norms and prejudices of the 18th century. Their relationship with slavery in particular cast a long shadow on their legacies. While they championed liberty and equality, these men were also slaveholders. Washington, Jefferson, Madison, and Monroe all owned slaves, a stark reminder of the hypocrisy that often plagued the early republic. Their inability to fully reconcile their ideals with the realities of their time highlights the enduring struggle to achieve a more perfect union. Despite these moral failings, their achievements in establishing a new form of government based on the principles of liberty, equality, and self-governance cannot be overstated. They created a system of government that, while imperfect, has proven remarkably resilient and adaptable. Their vision of a nation founded on the consent of the governed, with power divided among different branches of government, continues to inspire democratic movements around the world. The relevance of the Founding Fathers to modern America. More than 2 centuries after these men walked the earth, their presence is still felt in the fabric of American society. The Constitution they crafted remains the supreme law of the land, a testament to their foresight and enduring wisdom. The debates they engaged in over the role of government, the balance of power, and the protection of individual liberties continue to shape American political discourse. The challenges they faced, balancing national security with individual freedoms, navigating a complex international landscape, and ensuring equal rights for all citizens, resonate with striking familiarity in the 21st century. The lessons learned from their successes and failures can serve as valuable guideposts as we grapple with the political, social, and economic challenges of our own time. The Founding Fathers understood that democracy is not a spectator sport. It requires active participation, informed debate, and a willingness to compromise. Their legacy serves as a reminder that the American experiment, though imperfect and ever evolving, depends on the continued engagement of its citizens.